This is part of an interview series with the candidates of the 2021 Sikyong elections who have officially announced their candidature to run for the highest office of the exiled Tibetan polity. I'm Choekyi Lhamo. With us here today is former Minister of the Central Tibetan Administration, Lobsang Nyandak. He is a veteran Tibetan politician who has held various official positions, including being a minister in the Samdo Rinpoche cabinet and also been a representative for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to North America. Kasur Lobsang Nyandak, welcome and thank you very much for accepting our invitation for the interview. Tashtele Kasur Lobsang Nyandak. Let us begin with the questions. So the dialogue between the Tibetan and Chinese sides have been stalled since 2010. How do you plan to restart talks between the two sides, and what new steps have you planned to resolve the Tibetan issue?
Sino-Tibetan dialogue or resolving the issue of Tibet is the primary goal of the Central Tibetan Administration. And given my past experiences with meeting with different Chinese officials, as well as scholars, and organizing various activities with regard to promotion of Tibetan cause, I believe that I have that necessary experience to engage with the Chinese leaders and Chinese scholars, promote Tibetan issue. Having said that, it is also important to understand the geopolitical shift that is taking place in the world today. Many of the democratic countries are now viewing China as a potential threat to the very liberal democratic ideologies and system of the democratic countries. So therefore, we have an advantage here. So we have the advantage of aligning ourselves with all those democratic countries and leaders in order to prevail upon the Chinese leaders to resolve the issue of Tibet. So I believe that given my personal relationship with some of the Chinese officials, as well as with a number of Chinese scholars from mainland China, I can easily re-establish the contacts with the Chinese counterpart and begin to find an amicable solution to the Tibet issue.
All right, Kasur Lobsang Nyandak. This second question would be about the middle way approach. The middle way approach is the official stance of the Central Tibetan Administration. However, Beijing has not only categorically rejected the approach, but we have seen the model of one country, two system collapse recently in Hong Kong. Do you think Umelam approach is still viable?
It is. After the debacle of Hong Kong, many people started to ask this question whether now, there is any hope for the middle way approach of the Central Tibetan Administration. Of course, it is not an easy answer. No leader would, answer this in black and white or yes or no. I would rather find other ways to ensure total respect and responsibility in any agreement we sign with the Chinese government on a mutually beneficial agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong, debacle should not be an end to Tibetans' fight for genuine autonomous arrangement. Instead, we should take a lesson that such a situation may be possible for the Tibetan people, and hence we have to plan ahead in mitigating such risk in the future. One important contrast between Hong Kong and Tibet is that Hong Kong people have enjoyed high degree of freedom before the national security law was passed in China. Yes. And compared to Hong Kong's status, our situation is worse than the Hong Kong people today. Even after the national security law was passed, many of the democratic freedoms have been taken away. But if you compare the current Hong Kong with the situation in Tibet, we are still in a worse situation. So Hong Kong people are much better than us, even I believe in the foreseeable future. So given this situation, we do have to understand that our efforts have to continue in order to achieve a meaningful autonomous arrangement with the Chinese government. So I fully believe that this is the only viable solution in terms of resolving the issue of Tibet, in terms of re-establishing, the fundamental freedoms and human rights of the Tibetan people, and most importantly, preserving and protecting the very cultural identity of the Tibetan people. I know that China, has now gotten to be more aggressive in their policies in different parts of the world, including different regions in China. The latest example is, having a new policy to teach in Chinese all the mediums, in Inner Mongolia, in Southern Mongolia. So, this is something that they are threatening the very essence of, the cultural identity of the Mongolian people, which they have been doing to us and to the Xinjiang people for the last number of decades. But nevertheless, in order for us to protect our own identity, in the foreseeable future, it is very important for us to continue to bring Chinese leaders to a negotiating table, and therefore try to ease up the tensions and the difficulties of the Tibetan people are facing inside Tibet. So I believe that this is still the only viable option that is left for us. And if we continue to work hard and engage the Chinese leaders, I'm hopeful that there will be a solution in the future.
I'm sure, but doesn't it seem that China is they don't want to be on the discussion table? That it's further from the truth?
Of course, China has been having a very hard policy on Tibetan people for a number of years. We may have had opportunities one or two times in the past, but the current situation seems so that Chinese leaders are very tough. But nevertheless, looking back into the the recent history, there were Chinese leaders, including Hu Liubang, who proposed finding an amicable solution. Who proposed easing up tensions inside Tibet, who proposed bringing in new reform, and even there are views expressed by Chinese leaders in the past, and it is all possible today that there are leaders who are reasonable, who may see that this is something that China needs to resolve if China has to have a better image in the international community. And most importantly, I believe that China is getting out of time. The window of opportunity for the Chinese leaders as well as for the Tibetan people is very narrow now, with the advanced age of His Holiness, with the continued drifting of trust of Tibetan people against Chinese government and leaders. So it's also beneficial for them that the Chinese government should seriously take into consider the Tibet issue. Otherwise, there could be a way that the solution may not be found in many years to come.
Sure. Thank you. So my third question now is the migration of Tibetans from the Indian subcontinent to the West is a fact, and the shifting demographic may pose serious challenges to the Tibetan movement in India. The previous administration has said that the issue is being closely watched and that it could pose challenges and provide new opportunities as well. What is your take on the matter, and how do you plan to address the matter?
It is something that no force can stop. They cannot be, even if the CTA says doesn't actively promote such immigration policies. But looking back to the last 20 years, we have seen that the immigration program supported and implemented by the CTA, the number of Tibetans immigrated are far less than actual Tibetans who have immigrated. So it's not a matter of whether we like it or not, but it's a matter of how should we face it and take this into our advantage. I always believe that even though there are challenges, definitely, but overall, this immigration of Tibetans have really helped in terms of further promoting the Tibet issue in the international community. Fortunately, with the vision of His Holiness and Tibetan administration, we have a very good structured Tibetan community in almost, in all Western countries. So they are shouldering a responsibility, not just in terms of, creating political awareness in the international community, but actually contributing to the economic upliftment of the Tibetan community, especially in India and Nepal, and as well as inside Tibet.
Yes.
And this has tremendously helped over the past few decades the improvement of livelihood and economic situation of Tibetans in diaspora particularly, and also given the opportunity to receive higher education, modern education. I believe that now Tibetans are in top, education institutions in different parts of the world, including United States. So these are the opportunities that we have received. We have a new, younger generation coming up equipped with, full modern education with skills and professionalism. So these are things we may not have achieved if we, decided to remain in India and Nepal, for a number of years.
Right.
So these are advantages. And the one particular challenge that we face is the preservation of our language and culture, our identity. This, of course, despite the fact that Tibetan associations are taking lead in organizing different weekend classes and inviting learned Tibetan lamas to give talks and teaching, as well as few civil society organizations are taking the lead in organizing workshops, trainings, online trainings, etc. The efforts are being made, but still we feel that there is a degeneration of our culture in the Western world, especially among the new generation who are born and brought up in the Western countries. So this is one real concern that how we should tackle it. So we have to make our efforts in that direction. Otherwise, I believe that based on demographic shift that has taken place over the last few decades, the CTA has to accordingly adapt to the new reality and not only just address to the Tibetan communities in India and Nepal, but we need to effectively address the needs and aspirations of Tibetans who are now settled in different parts of the world.
Sure, thank you. The fourth question would be about China. So there is a shift in the global outlook towards China in the post-COVID-19 world at the moment. The growing hostility towards the Chinese government is apparent. It is going to increase in the future. How do you think we can capitalize on the world's changing outlook towards China in our Tibetan struggle?
Exactly. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that there definitely is a political shift that is taking place in China and the world over.
Yes.
In fact, people talk about having some kind of a new Cold War, between U.S. and the Western countries and China. I believe that it is highly possible because more and more people in the West are believing that it is a struggle between two ideologies, liberal democracy and communism. Some believe that it is an existential threat to the liberal ideas if China is unchecked for its latent disregard, to international norms and regulations. So, and at the same time, China has been caught on espionage activities, stealing intellectual property, controlling freedom of speech in democratic countries, infiltrating in education systems, and basically challenging the very liberal values and systems in this world.
Yes.
So I think China will continue to face greater challenges ahead, and will be compelled to change for the better. So under such a situation, Tibetans can definitely find support for our cause. We really simply have to work hard and play wisely, even though we understand that China continues to harden their policies. Not just in Tibet, but in other regions of China.
Mm-hmm.
China continues to aggressively deal with their neighbors, with other countries, including many Western European countries. So basically, China is moving on a path which is very destructive, which is being risky also, not just to themselves but to the international community. And therefore, it's important for us. I consider this as an opportunity for the Tibetan people to convince the people of the world. Now it is much easier for us to convince people because until now, trade is considered as one of the most important bilateral relationship with China.
Right.
And in order to protect that trade deal, many governments and leaders would always try to provide a lip service to Tibetan cause or to human rights or freedoms of any other people. So now the things are changing. Many influential leaders fully believe that it is not just about economy. It is about the very liberal ideas that have kept alive the freedom and dignity of people in Western countries. So we have an opportunity out here, and it's also easier for us to explain. For instance, like there has been the 7th World Forum on Tibet, which was held just a week ago. Mm-hmm. So we see that the next 5 years of Chinese policy will continue to be very repressive against the Tibetan people. Judging at the decisions or the guidelines that they have come up with from this World Forum on Tibet, we really do not see any hope that the current Chinese leaders will bring about positive changes, in Tibet. So this is an opportunity for us also to inform the world about the Chinese ongoing atrocities taking place in Tibet, and most importantly, there's also an opportunity because Tibet struggle is based on democratic values. We have a democratic institution that is legitimate, and also since many Western countries are fighting for democratic ideologies, maybe we have an opportunity to align with them and therefore move forward in recognizing the democratic institutions and democratic aspirations of the Tibetan people. So hopefully, as I mentioned there, the present condition is such that Tibetan people can grasp this opportunity to further promote the cause of Tibet.
Okay, sure, thanks. My next question is about something you said in your introduction also. So, over the last few years, the exiled Tibetan community's unity has been affected by a lot of infighting. There's clearly a problem. What do you think is the solution?
Very true. It is indeed a problem. Yes. And some people tend to ignore or not acknowledge the existence of disharmony and disunity in our community. It's always important that we have to first acknowledge what is wrong, what is weak in our community. Only when we identify the weakness, then we can find a solution towards that. And as I mentioned earlier, this weakness, this disunity can only be resolved or solved by having affirmative policies like inclusiveness.
Right.
we have to generate awareness and educate our own people that diversity is something should be considered a strength in a democratic society. It's important because Tibetan Charter has granted all the fundamental freedoms, for the Tibetan people. So, in order to respect the Tibetan Charter, in order to respect the democratic values, no matter what differences that you have, the background differences or your ideological differences or your viewpoints, you have so many differences in life. But what we need to learn is that to respect the differences, to respect the other people's view and agree to disagree.
Right.
So in that way, if we're able to respect other people's views and freedom, then only we will be able to achieve harmony. So I believe it is time for the leaders and for our own people in the community just start to respect different views. It really doesn't matter if someone holds different views, if someone wants to vote for somebody else. It is the fundamental right of that individual to make a decision, to whom to vote and to whom not to vote.
Right.
So if we started to considering those individuals who are not in your group as an enemy, then this is not just the total disregard to the democratic values that we all so much cherish, but it is also a very uneducated stand from individuals' point of view. So I believe that inclusiveness is a principle that needs to be included in policies of CTA, and thereby encourage each and every Tibetans to respect each other. Because as I said earlier, CTA is an institution that primary responsibility is to achieve a solution to the Tibetan problem. So in order for us to do that, the unity of the Tibetan people is the first important criteria.
Okay.
Once we have that unity, and all our efforts can be put towards achieving our real goal. Not just spending so much of time, days in and days out, trying to sort out who is with whom and who is saying what. This is really kind of driving away our energy and resources and time, which is very unhealthy for our freedom struggle.
Sure, thank you. So I'll begin with the specific questions now. So, of all the Sikyong candidates, what visions and strategies do you think make you more suitable for this position?
My supporters would love to say that I have the full package.
Sure.
That is needed to lead a nation and to lead a freedom struggle.
Mm-hmm.
In my 30 years of experiences, I have served as the Minister for International Relations.
Yes.
I've served as the Minister for Finance Department. I've served as the Minister for Health Department. So with these three important departments, I have had already personal experience of working not just within the Tibetan community but internationally. And in addition to that, I have particular experience, personal experience in Sino-Tibetan dialogue. As I mentioned earlier, I have met with highest officials who are dealing with Tibetan issue. So this personal experience will help me in terms of further strategizing my plan in terms of reaching out to the Chinese government and Chinese people. So I believe that this skill and experience that I have will hugely benefit the Tibetan leadership in finding an amicable solution. And of course, I have understand and also worked with different grassroots organizations, including Tibetan Youth Congress, National Democratic Party of Tibet, the Tibetan Center for Human Rights and Democracy, now Tibet Fund, which deals with finding addressing the needs, basic needs of the Tibetan community, be on education, on health, or on political, awareness. So I believe that I have, all the experiences necessary to lead the Tibetan struggle.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Um, the next question is about your experience in the Central Tibetan administration. So you were a minister in the Samdho Rinpoche's cabinet, and you know how the Tibetan administration setup works. Many feel that the CTA needs fundamental changes and restructuring to move ahead with changing circumstances. What do you think are some of the changes needed?
I think I really do not see a change required in the structure of the CTA.
Sure.
We have a very solid foundation and structure that is required for a democratic system to exist and efficiently function.
Right.
Over the past 6 decades, we have had gradual change, a positive change that has further strengthened the potential of the Tibetan central administration. So I really do not think that we need to have any fundamental changes to the structure. But what is required is new approaches, dealing with many different issues, including reaching out to the Chinese and finding a solution to Tibet problem, or the education system, or the healthcare system, or to empower Tibetan women. So there are many issues or areas of concern that need to be further improved, and to achieve that, of course, specific policy has to be in place. For instance, like on women empowerment, just a case.
Yeah.
So even though we do have a women desk and a women empowerment policy at the CTA level, but are we actually empowering women in a sense that any kind of women-related issues or problems can be tackled effectively?
Yeah.
So for that particular area of policy, if I may give my kind of views on this, I see that there are 4 different areas where women need to be empowered. One, of course, undoubtedly, is the education. We need to have special, scholarships for girls of poor background to do higher studies. Unfortunately, we still have plenty of girls who needed support. Through my experience, Tibet Fund has launched a girls' scholarship program
Yes.
in India and Nepal for the last 3 years, and one inside Tibet. So we are reaching out and targeting girls from very poor family background. So even though we are not able to support a large number, but we can see from the applications that there still are so many girl students who need financial support to receive further higher studies.
Sure.
So this is one area we have to further expand.
Yes.
And the second, women empower, I would say, is in the healthcare program. Mother and child care is something that we need to look into. We have to ensure that all mother and children below the age of 5 would be carefully provided necessary assistance in a very regular manner in order to ensure that mother and child are in a very good position, both in health and mental. And the third area where I see is the women-led household and also single mother. So there are quite a significant number of families, households where either there is just a single mother taking care of her children,
Yeah.
or women-led household, even though a spouse is with them. So how can we further encourage and train and support in their livelihood, initiatives? So this is another area that will definitely be effective in empowering, our women in Tibetan settlements in particular. And another most important, I believe, is to ensure gender equality and prevention of abuses. This is one area. The CTA should have an affirmative policy with regard to women empowerment. Education of gender equality is something that has to be done from the very foundation of when children are young and small. Schools have to be targeted in order to create greater awareness on gender equality and, of course, prevention of abuse. For instance, like Tibet Fund has been supporting this kind of program with civil society organizations based in Dharamsala.
Yes.
So these four areas are something that we need to focus more. This is just an example. So we don't really need overhauling of the structure of the CTA, but rather we should come up with definitive policies.
Hello.
Effectively.
Okay.
Hello.
Let's say.
Hello.
Phone ki maltis
Hello.
cheswa.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sure. So my last question now to you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so you talked about the approaches that we can take in CTA, but if you do get elected, what will be your first big change that you could bring in the office?
First of all, I wanted to lead the institution in such a manner that the unity would be my main goal. This, as I mentioned earlier, that this is the first condition that is required for any government. For exiled establishment like us, we either need loyalty or recognition. Loyalty comes from the Tibetan people, and recognition comes from the international community. So in order to achieve this, we have to ensure that Tibetan people are fully unified, that the Tibetan people place their total trust and loyalty to the Tibetan leadership. So this is a goal that I need to work, right away. But having said that, there are many other important objectives that I need to start working. One, of course, is re-establishing contacts with the Chinese government. I definitely would like to see that within a year or two's time, we'll be able to reach out to the Chinese leaders and continue with the negotiation with the Chinese leaders.
Great.
And they also are, as I mentioned, because today the international community has changed in terms of their viewpoints against a Chinese Communist Party. So this is a window of opportunity for us. We really do not know in terms of the real politics how this attitude will remain, for how long. But nevertheless, we have to grasp this opportunity and reach out to all democratic countries and leaders in the world today and see that the CTA, the democratic institutions is being recognized, see that the Tibetan aspirations for a democratic future is being supported, not just in terms of making a statement, but in real terms.
Yes.
So this is an area that we need to really focus and work from day one. And there, of course, are many other issues, but one of the most important issues that I consider is the education. So I'll put my time and energy on education policy. Even though we all are happy that the performance of our students in the exams are very good, and we already have a basic education policy which has been in place since, I believe, in 2005, 4 or 5. But it really does not mean that we should not make further improvement. I have few things that I really want to introduce or add in the current education policy, and they are, introducing daily motivational, speeches. These are something that could inspire students and build, boost their confidence, which is something it is a must. Having confidence is a basic, life skill. So we have to inspire our children every day, like we do prayers every day, like we, teach maths every day. So these kind of things, building confidence, inspiring students should be something that it has to be done every single day to ensure that no single Tibetan is left, with the lack of confidence.
Absolutely.
And I think this is one, thing that kind of obstructs our younger generations to grow or fully develop.
Sure.
So I think this is one thing that I really want to introduce. And secondly, appointing special educationists, because we see that there are students who are slow learners, and also those who are mentally challenged. So we really do not have special educationists to cater to the needs of those students.
Right.
So this is something that we also need to look into, and also appoint as many special educationists as possible. And then of course, there are several other things that I had in mind. If I get elected, I really wanted to make a real and significant difference in the next generation of Tibetan students.
Thank you so much, Kasur Lobsang Nyandak. Thank you for giving us your time. And we all wish you a successful campaign in the coming weeks.
Dollars.
Lase.
Thank you very much.
Tujichuna.